Hello and welcome to Random Tech Info. Today we're talking about the Galaxy S21 Ultra and 10 things the reviews didn't tell you. Well, probably didn't tell you. Now, I say probably because I haven't actually watched every single review of this phone that's out there or read every single review of this phone that's out there. However, I have read and watched dozens, maybe even close to 100 different reviews of this phone. And there are just certain things that either most of these reviews or none of these reviews have covered that I think you need to know about, especially considering the cost of this phone. Now, just to be clear, this is not a gotcha video. I'm not trying to be critical of the other reviews that are out there. I've said it before. It is simply impossible to cover everything everyone could ever want to know about the product. That's where this video comes in. So the first thing I want to talk about is the screen, and everybody keeps saying how gorgeous this screen is and how it might be the best screen ever put on a smartphone. And they might be right. The other thing people keep saying about this screen is that it's curved, which is understandable since Samsung itself says it's curved. They call it like the 2.5 curve or some other weird Samsung marketing lingo. But in truth, this screen is much closer to a flat screen than a curved screen. Yes, it's true, the edges do kind of bend down and melt into the frame, but hardly any of the image from the screen bends with it, and that's actually what matters. Let me show you. So here you will see the profile pictures of three separate phones, my OnePlus 7T, a OnePlus 7 Pro, and the S21 Ultra. And as you can see from the pictures, the profile of the flat 7T much closer resembles the Ultra than the screen of the 7 Pro. And the screen on the 7 Pro isn't even actually that curved. It's a very modest curve compared to some of the waterfall displays that we've seen coming out recently. Now, normally I do not like curved screens. In fact, the reason the 7T was my daily use device over the 7 Pro before I got the Ultra was because it had a flat screen as opposed to the Pro's curved screen. But the curve on the Ultra has not bothered me at all. In fact, I kind of like it because that slight curve makes it easier to use gesture navigations when the phone is in a case. Bottom line, if you are a fan of flat screens, don't let the curve on this screen put you off. Next, I want to talk about the forward-firing speaker on this phone and how it's not really a forward-firing speaker, or at least not just a forward-firing speaker. You see, when I cover the bottom-firing speaker with my finger and I try to cover up the forward-firing speaker with my other thumb, you can't really do it. Familiar with the dual screen tech on this watch, the benefit is that the LCD tech allows you to consume way less battery when you're just using. And that's because most of the sound that comes out of the front of this phone comes out of the screen itself. I will let Zach from Jerry Rig Everything explain it to you.
The earpiece unit of the S21 Ultra is water resistant, with its own rubber gasket around the edge. Kinda cool. It sits inside of the frame, next to the square vibrator. It's a bit a ways from the slit in the front of the phone. The speaker just channels its sound to that slit through the gap in between the phone frame and the screen. It's a little tunnel of tones, if you will.
I will put the link from Zach's entire teardown of this phone down in the description of this video, you know, if you're into that kind of thing. What the tunnel of tone does is it basically turns the top quarter or even a third of your phone screen into the speaker. This ensures you won't accidentally cover up the grill and block the sounds when you're gaming or on a call. It also makes talking on the phone more comfortable because you don't have to rest the frame of the phone up against your ear. It's pretty cool. Now, I've heard a bunch of reviewers claim that this phone has a 1.5 day battery. I've even heard some people say that it's a 2-day battery. Let's make this quick. The only way you're ever going to get 2 days of battery on this phone is if you never use the camera, never play any games, and only have about 3 hours of screen on time a day. No power user is going to get 2 days or even 1.5 days out of this phone. And if you're not a power user, then you probably don't need this phone. Now, don't get me wrong, the battery on this phone is not bad. It normally gets me through my day, and that is with fairly heavy usage. And with full resolution turned on and 120 Hertz unlocked with the adaptive refresh rate turned on, just know if you are a power user, you're probably going to have to charge up every night. Now, it's no secret that this phone does not come with a power brick, but what you might not know is that the cord that comes with this phone is USB-C to USB-C, which means that the power brick you currently have looks like this and not like this. Your brick will not charge your phone with the cord provided. And if you don't own a wireless charging puck, you're going to get a phone that you can't charge. Furthermore, even if you have a USB-C charging brick, and it's not a Samsung charge brick, it will probably take you longer to charge your phone, and since this phone has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, slow charging is less than ideal. You have been warned. Now I want to spend some time talking about the back of this phone. Not the ginormous camera hump or the matte black color everybody keeps talking about. No, I want to talk about the glass. It has been well documented that this phone has a glass back. It has also been well documented that the base S21 has a plastic back. Now, a lot of people will tell you that the plastic back on the S21 feels like glass. But I'm going to go the other way with this, and I'm going to tell you that the glass back on the Ultra feels like plastic. Don't believe me? First up, we're going to do a tap test on the plastic Google Pixel 2 XL. Now we do the glass OnePlus 7 Pro. Now the S21 Ultra. I mean, seriously, it sounds more like plastic than the plastic back of the Pixel 2 XL. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Personally, I could care less about the back of my phone or what it feels like. And since the statistics say about 90% of you out there use a case, you shouldn't care either. All I'm saying is don't base your smartphone buying decisions on the material on the back of your phone it's made out of, unless of course you prefer plastic over glass, because glass is glass and glass breaks. Now let's get to the ugly. There are ads on this phone. Now granted, most of these are just from using Samsung's own apps, most of which you probably won't use anyway, but on a phone of this price, it's still a problem. And while some reviews have glossed over this, some, to their credit, have addressed it. But what most reviews don't tell you is that there is a way to make at least some of these ads go away, and Ritik Singh over at gadgetstouse.com has put together a wonderful guide to help you do just that. In fact, it's so good, I have nothing to add to it. The link is in the description. Now, everything else I'm going to talk to you about today has to do with either this phone's camera or the gallery app. So if you're not interested in either of those things, feel free to stop the video and head out now, but on your way out, also feel free to give me a thumbs up and a sub.
Well, that wasn't such a chore, now was it?
Now, you may already know about Director's View, which lets you use the forward-facing camera and 3 of the 4 back cameras all at the same time. What you might not know is that while the phone can use 3 of the back cameras simultaneously, it can only record with 1 of them at a time. You have to choose. Not quite sure why you would want to record with all 3 back cameras at the same time, but I thought you should know. Now let's talk pro modes and telephoto lenses and the fact that you can't use them together at the same time. That's right, 2 of the 21 Ultra's most standout features can't be used together. Is this a huge deal? Probably not. Is it something worth mentioning? Well, I just did, so there. Another little piece of camera weirdness on this phone is the fact that when you select to use the 10x zoom, it doesn't always use the 10x telephoto lens. Sometimes it uses the 3x lens and crops in. It seems to do this when you get closer to things. Now you probably won't use the 10x zoom on this phone when you're in close proximity to things very often, but when spending $1,200 on a phone, any limitation to the camera system is worth pointing out. Last but not least, there's a pretty cool feature on this phone that lets you edit out items and people in the background of your photos. This is not news. What might be news is the fact that this feature works on pictures you didn't even take with the phone. You can download them to the phone, put them in the gallery app, and do it from there. Another thing you might not know is that this feature is not available by default. In order to enable it, you have to open the Samsung Gallery app, select the picture, and then hit the edit button. From there, you tap on the 3 buttons in the upper right corner and then select Labs. There you will see the option to select the object eraser. You're welcome. So that's all the information I have today about the S21 Ultra. If there's more information that the other reviews didn't cover and that I still didn't cover today that you think people need to know about, please leave that information down in the comments so we can all learn from each other. As always, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching. And until next time, this is Rando Tech Info signing out.